after King Harris's claims about the $100,000 T.I. allegedly announced he was cutting off financial support for his son, citing behavior he considered abusive. In response, King Harris reportedly reacted on social media with statements and accusations that reignited family tensions. In this video, we take a look back at this father-son conflict over money, which continues to escalate. On March 3rd, 2026, T.I. sat down with Waylo on an episode of his podcast, Expeditiously. The topic was parenting, money, and how his children handle being the kids of a famous rapper. During the episode, T.I. opened up about his children's different approaches to money, and he told Waylo that his son King Harris randomly asked him for $100,000 like it's nothing. The quote spread across the internet immediately. The clip from the 2-hour episode was shared by Killer Crew on X and garnered over 369,000 views, with 4,773 likes and 838 bookmarks. That one line, "King asked for $100,000 like it ain't nothing," became the story. Everybody had an opinion. Social media ran with it, music, and most of the commentary was not in King's favor, but T.I. didn't stop there. He went on to compare King to his other children. The rapper contrasted King's approach with several of his other children, who he says actively avoid taking money from him. But then, Domani don't want a dime. He won't accept no money. Deja, she won't accept no money, he explained. He also mentioned his youngest son, Major, he don't want no money. So, there's T.I. on a public platform essentially placing King Harris in a box. Music. On one side, you have his other children, Domani, Deja, Major, who according to their father refused to accept financial help. And on the other side, you have King, who apparently calls his dad and casually requests six-figure sums. The comment prompted laughter from Waylo, who appeared surprised by the casual nature of such a large request. T.I.'s tone suggested both music exasperation and amusement at his son's boldness, but that tone doesn't change what it looked like from the outside. A father publicly calling out his son for being entitled. And people noticed. The revelation sparked conversations about parenting, music, generational wealth, and how different children handle privilege. On X, in comment sections on YouTube and music, across every blog that picked up the clip, the reaction was brutal. People called music King spoiled. People questioned why a 21-year-old was asking his father for that kind of money instead of earning it himself. People said T.I. had created the problem by raising his children in the spotlight. And people said King Harris was a perfect example of what happens when wealth replaces work ethic. That was the narrative for about 3.5 weeks, and then King spoke. On April 3rd, 2026, King Harris went on record to clarify the entire situation. And what he said changed the framing entirely. King explained that he only goes to his father, music, for investments, not for spending money, not for bills, not for lifestyle expenses. He goes to T.I. for investment capital, music. He said, "I only go to him for investments. I don't have to go to the bank. I go to him." Music. That is not the same as asking your father for $100,000 to blow. That is a son treating his father as a financial resource for music business. That is a son saying, "I have a plan. I need capital." And instead, music, I'll go to a bank where I would have to put up collateral, pay interest, and jump through hoops. I go to a man who has the money and who is supposed to want to see me win. Now, music. This changes the entire conversation. If King is asking T.I. for $100,000 to invest in a business, a brand, a product, or any kind of venture, then it is not a handout. Music. It is a request for partnership, a request for backing, and it reframes T.I.'s comments on the podcast because T.I. did not provide that context when he told the story to Waylo. The rapper didn't specify what King wanted the money for, but the amount itself became the music focal point of the discussion. That omission matters. When you tell the world your son asks you for $100,000 without also saying your son uses that money for investments, music, you are shaping a narrative. Whether T.I. did it on purpose or not, the result was the same. King looked entitled, and T.I. looked like a frustrated music father, tired of being treated like an ATM. But with King's clarification, there's another way to read this. A son who is trying to build something and who sees his father not just as a dad, but as a potential backer. A son who, rather than go to strangers for capital, goes to the person who knows him best, music. And a son who apparently feels like the door to that support has been closed or at least narrowed. Because that is the real story here. It is not just that King asked for money. It is that T.I. put the request on blast publicly, and in doing so, he signaled, intentionally or not, music, that King's financial access to his father is a source of tension. To understand why the situation hit so hard in the public eye, you have to understand the Harris family. King is the son of rapper T.I. and R&B singer Tamika Harris, who music is better known as Tiny. He was born in 2004 and has gone on to appear on the VH1 reality series T.I. and Tiny, The Family Hustle. That show is important. It means King grew up in front of cameras. Music. Apart from his musical endeavors, King Harris has also made a mark in television and media. His appearances on reality TV shows have given audiences a glimpse into his personal life and his journey in the entertainment industry. These appearances have increased his visibility and showcased his charismatic personality and natural flair for entertainment. So, when people see a clip of T.I. talking about King asking for $100,000, they are not seeing a private family conversation. They are seeing the latest chapter of a family they have watched grow up on television. Music, they feel invested. They feel like they know these people, and because of that, they feel entitled to weigh in. King Music Harris, born in 2004, is T.I.'s eldest son with wife Tiny Harris. He has pursued a music career and recently became a parent himself. That detail matters too. King is now a father. He is not a teenager asking dad for money to buy sneakers. He is a 21-year-old man with a child of his own, reportedly pursuing music and business ventures, and trying to figure out how to build in the shadow of one of the most successful rappers to ever come out of Atlanta. Music, and that shadow is long. T.I. is not just any rapper. He is a multi-platinum artist, actor, entrepreneur, and cultural figure who helped put Atlanta trap music on the map. He has had legal troubles of his own, including federal prison time. But he has also built a brand that extends far beyond music. His podcast, his acting career, his investments, his activism, all of it create a blueprint that his children either follow or push against. King has apparently chosen to follow in some ways music and push back in others. King Harris, a name that has become increasingly resonant in music and entertainment. Music has skillfully crafted a career that blends his artistic talents with a keen sense of business. Music. His journey in the entertainment industry is marked by a combination of musical ingenuity and music, a deep connection to his family's legacy in the entertainment world. But the public doesn't always see the nuance. His public image has often been tied to incidents that highlight entitlement and privilege, including feuds with other celebrities. And that reputation makes it very easy for people to take T.I.'s podcast comments at face value. This is a spoiled kid asking for $100,000 rather than dig deeper into what King says he actually uses the money for. The timing of this $100K conversation is important because it did not happen in a vacuum. It happened in the aftermath of one of the most explosive feuds a Harris family has been involved in. The origins of their feud date back to a failed Versus battle between T.I. and 50 Cent. But things escalated once 50 posted an old video of T.I. online, followed by subsequent memes dissing the Harris family in total. The situation got ugly fast. The much-publicized back and forth between the two rappers took over timelines in February when the Harris family, T.I., and sons Domani and King released a slew of diss tracks aimed at 50. King went the hardest. King Harris is not holding back amid his feud with 50 Cent, even digging up documents dating back to 2009. He took to Instagram to share what looks like an official FBI report dating back to 50 Cent allegedly placed an anonymous tip about Lil D Mac Fletcher's murder investigation. King was willing to go places that even his own father felt were too far. Music, most recently. He feuded with 50 Cent wearing a shirt featuring the rapper's deceased mother in an attempt to defend his father. When T.I. was asked about that, he was clear. T.I. pointed directly at the video of King wearing a shirt with 50's deceased mother, music on it. "I said that's enough when I seen that t-shirt," the Atlanta rapper said. But at the same time, T.I. was proud that his son stepped up. He did admit he was proud of how both his sons defended their mother. Tamika Tiny Harris, who became the butt of several since-deleted memes posted music by 50 T.I., even said on air that the situation demonstrated the family's unity. "The one thing that I'm proud of this is that the women and children in our family see that it's a line of men that's here against who the FK ever." So here's the tension. King is bold enough to go to war for his father, to defend his mother, to take on one of the most powerful figures in hip-hop, and to do it with zero hesitation. He put himself in the line of fire publicly, and then weeks later, his father goes on a podcast and tells the world that King asked him for $100,000 without providing the full context. Tiny Harris brushed off 50 music, since jab, saying she didn't care. During a March 26 interview on The Breakfast Club, she stayed unbothered while her sons King and Domani stepped up to defend her. King and Domani had their mother's back. Tiny acknowledged it. T.I. acknowledged it. The family stood together during one of the most hostile public feud of 2026. Music. And yet, conversation became the thing that fractured public perception of King Harris all over again. That is why King's clarification on April 3rd felt less like a casual correction and more like a defense of his character. He was not just explaining what the $100,000 was for. He was saying, "I am not who you think I am. Music. I'm not some spoiled kid with his hand out. I go with my father for business. And when I do, it is because I believe in what I'm building." So, the question at the center of all this is simple. Did King Music Harris expose T.I. for stopping financial support? Here's what we know. T.I. told the world on his podcast that King asked for $100,000 like it's nothing. He contrasted King with his other children who refuse money. T.I. contrasted King's approach with that of his son Domani, who takes the opposite stance. Domani, he refuses money. T.I. explained during the podcast. The rapper seemed to appreciate Domani's independence and reluctance to rely on his father's wealth. That comparison was public. It was deliberate. Music, even if it was casual, and it painted a picture. Then King responded by saying he only asked his father for investment money, not handouts. He said he treats his father like a bank, not in the disrespectful sense, but in the practical sense. His ideas. He needs capital. And instead of going to a financial institution, he goes to family. Now, did T.I. stop financial support? That is harder to pin down. What we can see is that T.I. publicly characterized King's requests as excessive without giving the audience the context music that King later provided. And what King's clarification suggests is that there may be a gap between how T.I. views these requests music and how King views them. T.I. sees a son who asks for too much. King sees a father who should be investing in his future. These public incidents music may contribute to T.I. as apparent exasperation with King's casual approach to money. Music. The combination of entitlement and controversial behavior has made King a polarizing figure online. But being polarizing doesn't mean being wrong. And wanting your father to invest $100,000 in your business is not the same as wanting him to hand you $100,000 to spend. The truth is probably music somewhere in the middle. T.I. is a father who has watched one of his sons operate differently music from the rest. He has expressed frustration. He has made that frustration public. And King, who has fought publicly for his family, who has taken bullets in the press for his parents, music, and who has tried to build his own career in a space where everyone compares him to his father, felt the need to set the record straight. Whether T.I. has actually cut King off financially is not something either of them has confirmed music outright, but the dynamic is clear. There is a father who feels like one of his kids leans on him too heavily. Music. And there is a son who says he is not leaning, he is building. And the friction between those two perspectives, music, is what made the story blow up. What is undeniable is this. The Harris family plays out their dynamics in public, from reality TV to podcasts to social media feuds. There is no separation between the personal and the public for this family. And when money gets involved, especially six-figure money, the audience gets loud. Opinions form fast, and both sides end up defending themselves in front of millions. King Harris clarified his position. T.I. spoke his piece on the podcast. Music, the internet chose sides, and the conversation about generational wealth, parental support, music, and what it means to truly invest in your children continues.